Marcus Keisha Rivers thought he had the full picture. He thought he'd uncovered the worst betrayal imaginable. His wife, Keisha, had been sleeping with his best friend for 6 months. 6 months of lies. 6 months of secret meetings. 6 months of looking him in the eye while living a double life. When Marcus confronted them both, when he saw the evidence laid out in front of him, text messages, hotel receipts, photographs, he believed that was it. That was the extent of the damage. One affair, one betrayal, one man he'd trusted who'd stabbed him in the back. But Marcus Rivers had no idea. He hadn't uncovered the full picture. He hadn't even scratched the surface. Because Keisha wasn't having one affair. She was having 5. 5 different men, 5 different lies. 5 different lives she was juggling like some twisted performance. And when Marcus finally discovered the truth, when he pulled back every layer and saw the full scope of his wife's deception, it didn't just break him. It destroyed him. And what he did next? It shocked an entire city. This is the story of a man who thought he knew betrayal, and then learned he knew nothing at all. This is the story of Keisha Rivers, a woman whose secrets ran so deep that even the people closest to her never saw it coming. And this is the story of one night in Atlanta, Georgia, that ended with blood on the walls, bodies on the floor, and a question that still haunts investigators today. How many affairs does it take before love turns into murder? Before we go any further, I need you to do something. If you're watching from Atlanta, Detroit, Houston, Brooklyn, Los Angeles, Charlotte, London, Birmingham, or anywhere else in the world, drop your city in the comments right now. Let me know you're riding with me. And if this story grips you the way it's gripping me, hit that like button and subscribe to the Fiend Files. Because what you're about to hear, it's going to leave you speechless. Let's start from the beginning. Marcus Keisha Rivers was 36 years old, a successful real estate agent in Atlanta's booming market. He was a big man, 6'2", dark-skinned, with a clean-shaved head, a perfectly lined beard, and tattoos covering both arms. A lion on his right shoulder, his daughter's name on his left forearm, and praying hands across his chest. He'd grown up in the West End, fought his way through community college, got his real estate license at 23, and built a business that was pulling in 6 figures a year by the time he hit 30. He met Keisha Monique Rivers at a Juneteenth celebration in Piedmont Park 8 years earlier. She was 26 then, gorgeous in every sense of the word. Caramel skin, long jet black weave that fell down her back, full lips, curves that stopped traffic. She had a small rose tattoo on her right ankle and a cross tattooed behind her ear. She worked as a marketing coordinator for a startup downtown. Smart. Charismatic. The kind of woman who could walk into a room and own it without saying a word. They dated for 2 years. Got married at a beautiful ceremony in Stone Mountain. Had a daughter, Zaria, who was now 5 years old. Bought a 4-bedroom house in Buckhead. From the outside, they were living the dream. Marcus was making money. Keisha was climbing the corporate ladder. Zaria was in private kindergarten. They posted photos on Instagram that got hundreds of likes. Black love, couple goals, blessed. But behind the filters and the smiles, Keisha was living a life Marcus couldn't have imagined in his worst nightmares. It started with Terrence T.J. Johnson, Marcus's best friend since high school. T.J. was 37, light-skinned with green eyes, a fade haircut, a thick beard, and a full sleeve of tattoos depicting African warriors on his right arm. He was a personal trainer who ran a gym in Midtown. Marcus and T.J. were brothers. They'd been through everything together. Failed businesses, bad breakups, family funerals. When Marcus got married, T.J. was his best man. When Zaria was born, T.J. was her godfather. And for 6 months, T.J. had been sleeping with Keisha. Marcus found out by accident. He'd borrowed T.J.'s phone to check the score of a Hawks game. A text came through. From Keisha. It was explicit, graphic. Marcus felt the air leave his lungs. He scrolled up. Months of messages, photos, videos, Plans to meet at TJ's apartment when Marcus was out showing houses. Marcus didn't say anything, not right away. He took screenshots. He sent them to his own phone. Then he handed TJ his phone back and acted like nothing happened. But inside, Marcus was shaking. His chest felt tight. His mind was racing. His wife, his best friend, the two people he trusted most in the world. That night, Marcus confronted Keisha. He showed her the screenshots. She broke down, cried, begged, said it was a mistake, said TJ had come on to her and she'd been weak. Said it only happened a few times. Said she still loved Marcus. Said she'd end it immediately. Marcus wanted to believe her. He wanted to believe this was a one-time thing, a moment of weakness. So he made her call TJ right there, on speaker, and end it. TJ tried to apologize. Marcus told him he never wanted to see him again. Then Marcus told Keisha they were going to counseling. They were going to fix this, for Zaria, for their family. Keisha agreed. She seemed relieved, grateful. She promised she'd never hurt him again. But Marcus Rivers had no idea. The affair with TJ wasn't the only one. It was just the one he'd found. 3 weeks into marriage counseling, Marcus noticed Keisha was still being secretive with her phone, still taking calls in the other room, still texting late at night. He'd installed a monitoring app on her phone without her knowing. He told himself he wasn't being controlling. He was protecting himself. He needed to make sure she wasn't still talking to TJ. What he found was so much worse. Keisha wasn't talking to TJ. She was talking to DeAndre Williams, a 29-year-old personal banker, dark-skinned with dreads, a diamond earring in his left ear, and a neck tattoo of a lion. Marcus didn't know him, had never heard Keisha mention him. But the messages went back 4 months. They'd met at a networking event, started texting, met for drinks, and then it escalated. Marcus felt sick. He kept scrolling. And then he found another name, Kyle Brennan, a 32-year-old white real estate developer. Blonde hair, blue eyes, tattoo of a compass on his forearm. The messages went back 7 months. They'd been meeting at Kyle's downtown loft. Keisha had told Marcus she was working late. Marcus's hands were shaking, his vision blurred. How many? How many men had she been with? He kept digging. He went through her emails, her social media DMs, her hidden photo folders, and the more he uncovered, the more his world fell apart. There was Darius Scott, a 41-year-old music producer, bald head, goatee, full-body tattoos. They'd been sleeping together for over a year, longer than TJ Darius had even taken Keisha to Miami on a work trip while Marcus stayed home with Zaria. And there was Miguel Santos, a 25-year-old bartender at a club in East Atlanta. Latino, sleeve tattoos, lip piercing. Keisha had been seeing him on and off for 8 months. He was the youngest. She'd told him she was single. 5 men. 5 separate affairs, some overlapping, some concurrent. Keisha had been managing all of them while playing the role of loving wife and devoted mother. She'd been lying to Marcus's face for over a year, maybe longer. Marcus sat in his car in a parking lot at 2 a.m., reading through message after message, and he realized something terrifying. He didn't know his wife at all. The woman he'd married, the woman he'd had a child with, the woman he'd built a life with. She was a stranger, a master manipulator, a woman so skilled at deception that she'd convinced everyone around her that she was something she wasn't. And Marcus Rivers, he was done playing the fool. Marcus didn't confront Keisha right away. He formulated a plan. He wanted to confront all of them at the same time. He wanted them to see each other, to understand the full scope of what Keisha had been doing. He wanted to expose her, publicly, completely. So he set a trap. Marcus told Keisha he was going out of town for a real estate conference in Savannah. He'd be gone for 2 days. He knew exactly what she'd do. He'd been tracking her for weeks. He knew her patterns. And sure enough, the moment his flight left, Keisha started texting. She invited DeAndre over that night, told him Marcus was out of town. DeAndre arrived at 8 p.m. Marcus watched from his car parked down the street. Security cameras he'd installed without Keisha's knowledge were recording everything. But Marcus wasn't done. At 9:30 p.m., Darius showed up. Keisha had told him to come by later, that they'd have the house to themselves. Darius walked in through the back door. Then, at 10 p.m., Marcus called TJ from a burner phone, disguised his voice, told TJ that Keisha wanted to see him, that it was an emergency, that Marcus was out of town and Keisha needed him. TJ, despite everything, still cared about Keisha. He showed up. And finally, at 10:30 p.m., Marcus pulled into his own driveway. He walked through the front door, and he found them, all three of them, in his house, with his wife. The scene was chaos. DeAndre was in the living room. Darius was in the kitchen. TJ was upstairs. Keisha was panicking, trying to explain, trying to lie her way out of it. But there was no explanation, no lie big enough to cover this. Marcus didn't yell. He didn't scream. He just stood there, calm, and said, "Y'all need to see something." He pulled out his phone. He pulled up the messages, the photos, the timelines. He showed them everything. He showed DeAndre that Keisha had been sleeping with Darius at the same time. He showed Darius that TJ had been in the picture. He showed TJ that he'd been replaced by not one, but 4 other men. The room went silent. The men looked at each other, then at Keisha. She was crying, but no one believed her tears anymore. "Get out," Marcus said. "All of you, get the hell out of my house." They left, one by one, ashamed, angry, betrayed just like Marcus. Keisha tried to grab Marcus's arm. He pulled away. "Don't," he said. "Don't say a word. Yo, if you're still here, I need you to do something. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, whether it's Charlotte, Dallas, Phoenix, Jacksonville, Manchester, Leeds, or anywhere else on this planet. Because what happens next is going to blow your mind. But the story doesn't end there. Because 2 days later, Marcus discovered there was a 6th man, Antonio Reeves, a 33-year-old tattoo artist, full-body ink, including his face, neck tattoos, hand tattoos. Keisha had been seeing him for 3 months. He didn't know about any of the others either. When Marcus found out, something inside him snapped. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was pathological. This was a woman who was incapable of loyalty. A woman who didn't just cheat. She orchestrated an entire web of lies so intricate that even she probably couldn't keep track. Marcus confronted Keisha one final time. He told her about Antonio. She didn't even deny it. She just stood there, blank-faced, like she'd been caught so many times that lying didn't even matter anymore. "Why?" Marcus asked. His voice was hollow. "Why do this? Why marry me? Why have a child with me if you were just going to destroy everything?" Keisha looked at him, and for the first time, she told the truth. "Because I could," she said. "Because it was easy. Because they all believed me. And because you gave me everything I needed while they gave me everything I wanted." Marcus stared at her. This woman he'd loved. This woman he'd trusted. This woman who'd just admitted she'd used him. Used all of them. "I want a divorce," he said. "And I want custody of Zaria." Keisha laughed. Actually laughed. "You think any judge is going to give you full custody? I'm her mother. "You're a cheater," Marcus interrupted. "You're a liar. And I have proof. Text messages, photos, videos, testimony from 6 different men. You think you're walking away from this with anything? You're delusional." Keisha's smile faded. She realized in that moment that Marcus had been planning this, that he'd been gathering evidence, that he wasn't the fool she thought he was. "You can't do this," she said. "Watch me." The divorce was brutal. Marcus filed on grounds of adultery. He submitted evidence of all 6 affairs. Text messages, bank records showing hotel charges, testimony from TJ, DeAndre, Darius, Kyle, Miguel, and Antonio, all of whom were willing to testify once they realized they'd been played too. Keisha tried to fight it. She hired a lawyer. She claimed Marcus was controlling, that he'd invaded her privacy, that the evidence was obtained illegally, but the judge didn't care. The evidence was overwhelming, and Georgia law was clear. Adultery could impact custody and alimony. Keisha was granted supervised visitation with Zaria. Marcus was awarded primary custody. Keisha was ordered to pay child support, no alimony. She lost the house. She lost her reputation. She lost everything. But Marcus lost something too. His trust, his faith in people, his belief that love was real. In the months that followed, the story spread. Social media exploded. People took sides. Some called Keisha a monster. Others said Marcus was too controlling. Some blamed the men for being gullible. Others said everyone was at fault. Detective Angela Morris, a black woman in her late 40s with short, natural hair, sharp eyes, and a reputation for handling high-profile cases, was called in when threats started being made. People online were doxing Keisha, sending death threats. The case became a media circus. Angela sat down with Marcus in an interview. She asked him, "Do you regret exposing her?" Marcus thought about it. Then he said, "No, she needed to be exposed, not for revenge, but because people need to know. They need to know what manipulation looks like, what deception looks like. They need to know that not everyone who smiles at you loves you." Angela nodded. "And the men? The 6 men she was with?" "They were victims too," Marcus said. "Most of them didn't know. She lied to everyone. She's not a cheater. She's a con artist." Keisha Rivers disappeared from Atlanta 6 months after the divorce was finalized. She moved to Houston, changed her name, started over. Some say she's still running the same game. Others say she learned her lesson. Marcus Rivers is raising Zaria on his own. He hasn't dated since. He says he's not ready. Maybe he'll never be. TJ moved to California. He and Marcus never spoke again. The other men? They've all moved on. Some got married. Some stayed single. But all of them carry the same scar, the knowledge that they were just pawns in someone else's game. And the house in Buckhead? Marcus sold it. Too many memories, too many ghosts. He lives in a smaller place now. Just him and Zaria. He coaches her soccer team. He takes her to school. He's present. He's there. Because he learned something through all the pain, all the betrayal, all the lies. The only person you can truly trust is yourself. Thank you for watching, everyone. Whether you're tuning in from Atlanta, Miami, Chicago, Houston, Los Angeles, London, Glasgow, or anywhere else in the world, I appreciate you being here. If this story made you think, made you feel something, drop a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to the Fiend Files, because there are more stories out there. More truths that need to be told. More people who need their stories heard. Stay vigilant, stay smart, and remember, not everyone who says they love you actually does. Until next time.